DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Today I want to share with you a very simple framework titled, What Business Are You In? Now, I'm a person who's a big user of frameworks, and for those of you not familiar with the concept of framework is simply a structure around which, or inside of which, you can build your processes. You can basically build a process around a certain framework. When you understand how a framework works, basically you can start creating duplicatable processes, all different types of processes, all based on the same structure. So a framework is kind of like, a good way to explain it is basically, it's a system. It's a systematic way of thinking. So you may learn about frameworks. You can learn about them in a lot of places. Engineers use them, artists use them, people who work in finance use frameworks. And sometimes a framework can be very complicated with several steps, or relatively complicated. Framework also can be something very simple. So for example, I heard Grant Cardone, who's a marketing sales guy, once he said, he was talking about, thinking his book, The 10X Rule, he talked about how he just wanted to make himself famous. He wanted to make himself very well known to everybody in his space. And he said, he told his team, anything you all can do that would make me more known and basically make me a household name, I don't care how much money it costs, just do it. That in itself is a framework, because he was giving them an idea, all right, can this make us, our company, or Grant Cardone more known? Go ahead and do it. That is a framework in question in itself. But then if you were to do something like you get into engineering or any type of financial models, you can find very complicated several step frameworks that I probably couldn't explain to you in a YouTube video, even if I knew them, because I would probably need to be looking at a paper to see what they are. So the framework I want to explain to you here is, what business are you in? Now, why is this a framework, and how does it work? The reason this is a framework is because for all of you as entrepreneurs, or as people who are CEOs of You Incorporated, even if you are not an entrepreneur, if you have a job, you're still the CEO of your own life, right? You always need to be asking yourself the question of what business you're in, because it will help you make decisions about what to do and what not to do, which is very important, because your life in the long run is always going to be a reflection of the decisions that you have made and the subsequent actions that follow those decisions. So how can this work? Can I give you some examples of how this works? So if you're in, use the example I just gave you. Take somebody like Grant Cardone, who said he wanted to make himself a household name, make himself really famous. Doesn't matter how much money he has to spend to do it, just do it. So if he had an opportunity to run an advertising campaign, or he had an opportunity to be in a magazine, or an opportunity to put up a billboard in the middle of town, and all of those things to get him a whole lot more attention and get him more known, then he had to decide, should I do this or should I not do it? Well, the question is what? Go back to the framework. The framework is, anything that can make me more known and make me a household name, go ahead and do it. So based on the framework, what should he do? That means it's a go. That means go ahead and do it. Why? Because the framework is already given that the job is, the business that he's in is, I want to get myself as known as possible. For all of you, you need to decide, and you need to know what business that you're in. I tell entrepreneurs all the time, your duty as an entrepreneur when you're running a business is to increase the value of the business for shareholders. Those are the people who are owners of the business. That's your job as a business owner. So anything that will help increase the revenue of the business, you probably want to take a hard look at it. Doesn't mean you should do anything and everything to increase revenue of a business, because some things may not make sense in the long run. They might make sense in the short term, but not the long term. So it doesn't mean anything you should do just because it can make you money. All right, sometimes the money that you take now will cost you more later than it is actually going to make you in the present. But when you know what business you're in, then it makes it much easier for you to make decisions about what you're doing. And the challenge for a lot of people is that they don't have any frameworks upon which to base their decisions. And it could be something involving money, like what we're talking about in this example that I'm giving you, but it could be anything else as well. Let's say if you play a sport, you play a team sport like basketball or football, what business are you in? You're in the business of, hopefully, you're in the business of winning championships, because that's what a sports team, the purpose of playing sports is to win the games. And if you win all the games, then you're the champion. You get the trophy at the end of the season. Hopefully, everybody on the team is in the business of winning a championship. That means some people are going to play a lot, Some people are going to play less. Some people are going to get the ball a lot, and they're going to get all the attention because they're the star players. And some people are going to be role players, and they kind of sit on the bench and wave the towels, and they don't really play much. But their contribution is they play hard in practice every day and help the guys who actually do play better in the games. Maybe that's your role on the team. But if everybody's on the same page of we're in the business of winning a championship, then that means everybody will be willing to accept and embrace their role in helping the team get to that championship, even though that means some people's roles will be a lot bigger than other people's roles. So this is why it's important for you to know what business that you're in. And this is for you as an individual, what business you're in, and also for any groups that you're a part of. So this could be your household, it could be your family, it can be a sports team that you're a part of. If you work at a job, you need to know what's the business of that job. If you work at a job, you need to know what's our mission, what's our goal? What are we actually trying to achieve here? Is it we're just going to work and working just to say that we worked, just so I can punch the clock and say that I did my 8 hours this week so I can get my check? Is that the reason that you're here? Or is there a bigger picture and a bigger purpose to everything that we, meaning the company, is there a bigger purpose to everything that we're doing? And when you get hired at a job, somebody's job, it should be somebody's responsibility to explain this to you so that you understand it. They shouldn't leave it for you to just figure it out. Somebody should be explaining this to you so that they know that you understand what the big picture is of what we are doing here at this organization. If nobody explains it, then you probably aren't going to stay long at that job, because the reason many people leave jobs is not because they're not making enough money, it's because of purpose. They feel like they're just wasting away at the job, so they want to go somewhere where they feel like their presence is actually doing something. It actually matters. And for you individually, if you're running a business, you need to know what business you're in. What business are we actually in? What's our job here as a business? What are we actually trying to achieve? What are we looking to accomplish? How do we know that we're doing our business? How do we know that we're not doing our business? You need to know. There needs to be a clear framework that helps explain when are we checking the box, yes, or when are we not checking the box, no, and it should be obvious. And for you as a person, individually, this is where your principles come in. What are your personal principles? Do you have a personal set of principles? Do you have a personal code of conduct? What is okay, what is not? What's acceptable, what's not? What am I about, what am I not about? If you don't know, then you could do anything, and what does it matter? It doesn't matter, because you don't have any principles. So with all that said, take some time today and think about what business you're in, what's your code of conduct, what you're about, what you're not about, and then text me. Let me know that this was useful for you once you actually started doing it. My number is 305-384-6894. Once you text me, you'll also be in my text community and get my daily motivation every day for free. And if you want some help putting your principles together and getting clear on what business you're in, and then actually operating that business, especially for you entrepreneurs, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the only place you can be coached by me. You can work directly with me. You can get on a call with me. You can learn exactly how I can help you take your business where you want it to go, even if you haven't started yet. That's at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all